you mentioned there about the North Quays development,
Yeah,
and I've seen a lot of positive stories about it, that there's a plan to put in a shopping centre of some form out on the other side. And I think it would be great to see it go in. But at the same time, I'm kind of a little bit worried that it takes a little bit of the life out of the centre of the city in John Roberts Square. That we'll have a lot of, and we already have a lot of empty units there already.
I would
But
agree with
that
you.
but that we're kind of moving and turning. Nearly the middle of our city is going to become like the old inner city was in Dublin. That it's just going to become older and run down. The shops will be empty, or maybe full of pound shops or euro shops or whatever. Not being critical of those types of businesses, but just saying, from that perspective. But
Mm.
so what do you think about the North Keys development yourself? Because it's kind of a head scratcher for me. I'd be happy to see it go in because it could mean a lot of jobs. But at the same time, part of me is a little bit. Hmm,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there is for me as well. There is that concern,
hmm,
and I suppose all I have to do is look and walk through the city centre of
yeah.
Waterford, to see that it is suffering and has suffered for a very long time. I
Hmm,
mean, I remember, you see, the city centre when it
hmm,
was incredibly vibrant,
hmm,
when it had shop fronts that were full of character.
hmm,
It had that old style shop, and when it was a very busy place. So
hmm.
I remember that. So I can compare to what I now see. And we have to support the high street development back in. And I mean, the conversation with the North Quays was equally that there was a shopping centre to happen, in Waterford, in the city centre area and all of that. But I think we need to be ensuring that the conversation includes city centre
Hmm.
and the impact that it's going to have. So it's not just sufficient for that development to happen, but it has to run parallel alongside development of the inner city.
Right.
And what we need to be doing with inner city is ensuring that we have people living in them again. I mean, years ago, when people had their shops, they lived over them. You
Hmm.
know, that was the old way of doing it. And what there was the community in a city centre. There was a
Right.
vibrancy that was there because people lived there, they grew up there,
Yeah.
families, raised kids. But we need to be having that again.
Hmm.
So alongside that, rebuilding, renewing, we need residential as well,
Hmm.
and places where people can go. Um, we need the proper services that run alongside that. We need proper places of entertainment for people. We need a holistic approach to how we develop city centres.
Absolutely.
And Waterford desperately needs that.
Hmm.
Waterford City itself,
Yeah, the city centre. I agree.
the city centre. It's interesting when you go out into the county, and I've been in Dungarvan, and it's
Hmm.
quite busy, and it's very buzzy, and there's lots happening in the county. It's just for the city itself, and cities die
Hmm.
unless their soul goes out of a place, unless we have people that are there, that are living there, that it's a 24-hour experience.
Right.
um, and that we don't have at the moment. So you're right, in the sense about the North East, though I think it will bring jobs
Hmm.
from development point of view. That whole area requires something.
Yes.
It's lying dormant for years, but
Yes.
if it doesn't run parallel to the development of the city centre itself, that I would have my concerns about that too.
And another thing that just came into my mind there, when you talk about the development of that side of the water, is that there's there is a shopping centre in Ferrybank that's nothing. I think only maybe a library is in there after all
That's
these
right,
years.
yeah, for
So
4 years.
so I'm just a bit worried that we're going to build something and it's going to be empty again. That's my worry, Bernadette. and that and that that maybe even if things start to open up, that we lose that vibrancy in the city centre. So I think your point is right about it. But how would we do it? Do you think that maybe we need to try to have living space above the stores again in the city centre?
Yeah, I mean, that's one way to do it.
Hmm.
But certainly where people are living, where that actually experience happens. I mean, and it can be done in a way that people are sort of not all stuck in one or two rooms, small
Yeah.
families. I'm not talking about that. I'm
Hmm.
talking about proper spaces for people, and
Hmm.
where there's proper community amenities for people. And that can happen within a city centre. can happen, you know, and it has happened around the world in cities that have regenerated themselves. And it needs to be a regeneration, not just of areas, but of the actual city itself.
Yes.
The centre core. So we need a regeneration project happening for the city centre overall. And watch what happens, because like everything else, unless we have a proper foundation, which is why I talk about the airport, where I talk about the 24/7 cardiac care and proper health services. We need all of that in place. And then we work from there. So we take those very important issues, we give those the attention, we give those the investment. So we're creating something where people want to come.
Yes.
You know, the services and amenities are there, the facilities are there, and build it. They say build it and they will come. Well, they will. But we have to look at what we're building.
Well, talking about building, we need to build a runway at the airport, an extension. Again, not in the program for government, and again, something that we've been waiting for 5 years now, I think. So, do you think that anything's going to happen with this, or is it an issue that's about to die, that this airport's about to completely close down?
Oh, look, there's so little in it. I mean, we talk about it, and programs for government are also aspirations.
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
If
it's not even
everything's written in it, it's not going to happen. Well, that's my experience of previous programs for government. And much of what was written down didn't happen. So much of what isn't written down hasn't happened. It concerns me when it's not even written down.
It's not even in the aspirations.
It's not even there, you know. So we as a people have to highlight that. And we don't need to wait for another election. We don't need to wait. We now have a government. If we're going to, I'm a great believer in working with rather than against, in respect of moving something forward. Say, okay, we're calling this out. This isn't there. And why isn't it there? And there's many things in that program that I can take out and that I can use to facilitate a conversation about recovery and equity and fairness and equality and regional development programs. So there's lots of things we can take out there. So even though issues are not mentioned, we can use what is there to generate conversation, which is the approach that I will be taking in relation to going forward with this. So this is what you mean, and I can give you a very good example, Minister.